participate. We're talking about mods. All right, I don't know what, I got to look into that whole mod thing. So what we're working on, I had a live going and then my internet went out. I've got this 4-pound True Temper Dayton that I'm redoing. The handle's amazing. Really, really nice vintage handle. Amazing pocket. And it had a little bit of overstruck damage that I mostly got taken care of. The handle, the shoulder had cracked right off. Somebody had tried to hang it before me. It's got 4 eye ridges, not 6, 4. At some point, you can look up the exact date that True Temper switched over from 6 to 4 and then no eye ridges. So what I did is I glued it back together. And yes, Chris, hey, I don't know what happened. I was talking to myself for like 10 minutes, I think. I think my internet was down. It's been down in Atlanta for, I mean, real bad, 3-4 days. The infrastructure's awesome here in Atlanta. the Soviet socialist state of Atlanta within the wonderful, great state of Georgia. So I don't know, Chris, have you ever done this? Have you ever used steel rod to reinforce an axe handle? I got this, and I can't remember if it's 1/4 inch or, I think it's 1/4 inch, but I epoxied 3 steel rods in there, so I think it should be good to go. In addition to the glue, I used Type Bond 3, and then 3 3 steel dowels. So I think it should be good to go. But what I'm doing now is the palm swell was just a little bit punky, and so I glued it back with super glue, not super glue, CA glue. So we're gonna get that taken care of down here. Looks better than duct tape. Oh, duct tape! It actually did have duct tape. I might have the clump of duct tape that they used around here somewhere. I mean, it was just gross. It was this big, it's like sticky, frayed. Oh, it was, yeah, it was not great. So we're gonna get this flat taken care of here. But I'm thinking about, if I don't, I mean, I'm real tempted to hang on to this one, but at the same time, you know, I went to the Habitat Restore. Do you sell anything?
They didn't have any cash on them.
Oh, they just wanted it for free, huh?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you better hang out by that stuff, because if you leave, people are gonna think it's free and they'll just take it. Not all of them are gonna be nice and ask. So if you want to sell that stuff, you better go sit by it.
Clark and Duncan are selling it.
Oh, they're out there. Okay, so they're gonna get all the money from when they make the sale, huh?
I help bring stuff out too.
Well, okay, but they make the sale. They get to keep it. Them's the rules. We work on commission here. All right, so we got that locked up. Yeah. So, anyways, I was saying I was at the Habitat Restore. Oh, nice, 200 IQ, man. That sounds great. Hey, Maverick. What's? Oh, is that that's Michael Jordan as your profile picture? That's awesome. So I got this and I kind of like it. I want to test the hardness on it. I think it's really good steel, and the bit is nice and full. So many axes that I find are, I mean, the toe is just crushed. The pole is all beaten to smithereens. There's just a little bit of stuff going on the palm swell or the pole, but everything on this axe is remarkably together. It is a rehang. You know, the handle's been through it. It's repaired, but I was thinking about selling this one. You know, of course, when I go to actually go donate my old stuff, you know, they've got an axe sitting there, and it's a good price too. And I just thought, you know what? Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. So I bought this axe, and I'm fixing it up to sell to somebody. There were a bunch of people that reached out about those axes, and I still need to go through all of those emails. I want to kind of do it like in a fair way. Just go, first person to email me about the axe, then, you know, we'll go with them. And if they Venmo the stuff, then, you know, that's kind of the end of it. I don't want to overcomplicate it, and I want to be kind of fair too. So let's see where we're at. This is a really nice vintage handle. I mean, it really, really is. And I'm scraping it down, getting all the lacquer off. This would be a great display axe. I think. You know, I'm generally not super big into display axes. You know, I think if you got an axe, it was kind of made to be swung. But at the same time, I do get the appeal of having a really nice kind of mean looking axe hanging on the wall. It really kind of sets the vibe, doesn't it?
Did you make that handle?
No, I did not make this handle. This is, as far as I can tell, an original True Temper handle.
It looks like one you made.
Does it? Wow. Well, that is a compliment to me. Thank you. So we're going to get this handle taken care of. Hey, thanks, Maverick. I appreciate it, man. So anyways, if anybody out there is interested in this axe, I was thinking about selling it for maybe 50 or 60 bucks, which is probably too cheap. But at the same time, I mostly bought it because I wanted to rescue it and give it to somebody who maybe needs an axe. Or, oh, well, I appreciate it, Pure Blood. That means a lot, you know, even if you tried. I'm sure it counts. Anyways, I'll count it. So we're gonna get this taken care of. You know, the other thing that I might do while I'm doing this, I might try to. This is a trick that I really like. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the camera set up just right. But check this out. Let's see if I can get you where you can see it. Because this is a. I mean, it's not really my trick. Are we back? Sorry, I'm having all kinds of problems here today. So I've got some sawdust in the cracks here.
What's the super glue for?
So check this out. Ah, there we go. We're back. Hey, Chris, what was up with that one guy talking about the peanut butter? What was that guy, man? Is he here? I don't know what. I didn't really read the whole comment, but all right. So the super glue.
Oh, it fills in the cracks?
Is going to fill in the cracks. Yes.
And then are you going to put, like, sawdust in the glue before it dries? So, like...
And I want to catch it before it... Oh, whoa! The top was unscrewed a little bit. So, I'm going to give it one more shot. So that's going to cure now. And once it does, it's going to allow me to... How do you do stream? Well, you go over to, you've got like an upload section, and then you go over to, it's like short, live, post, and then don't scroll live videos and shorts. You will see some shocking stuff. You know what? I'm about 2 seconds away from just going dark on all social media. I mean, I really am. All right, so we're going to grab, well, I can't quite get in there with the Shinto. You know, and of course I've got my...
What did that guy say? The W, don't scroll...
He says, don't scroll live. You'll see some shocking things. That's why I don't let my kids on YouTube without strict parental supervision. Right? Right, Jameson?
Maybe.
Maybe. So, you know what? As much as As much as I love hand tools, we're gonna grab the sander here. All right. So now I can actually build up a second coat here. And this is mostly it's mostly going to keep your hands from getting all chewed up by splinters and all kinds of junk like that.
You're doing a really good job on that axe handle.
Thanks, bud. So let's see, we'll get it. It's kind of hard. If I were doing this, you know, just for me, I think I would lay it flat. But of course, I'm not doing it just for me. So, and I just about glued my fingers together. I made that mistake and did what the other guy was talking about. What was he? What was that guy? That was a trip, man. That comment was a trip. 12 people here. All right, cool, man. So anyways, if you emailed me about those axes, I'm sorry, I'm so slow. I have been just, did you use JB? But yes, I used JB Weld before. I love JB Weld, but my tubes are somewhere around here. What I used this time, oh, and actually, you know what? That's right, I used JB Weld again. And what I did is I JB welded those that steel dowel, that steel rod, through the handle. So I'm kind of curious. I want to take this out, touch up the bit, and just see if it's secure. Because I mean, I put three steel rods in addition to the wood glue. So I don't know if this is. I think it should be good. So we're gonna go ahead and take care of that handle here. And you know what? I need some new sandpaper. This is old stuff. Yeah, I like JB Weld a lot. I really do. It's good stuff. You've used screws like that to salvage a handle. Yeah, how do those screws work for you? Do they work okay? I mean, do you use what, like construction screws, or you probably, I imagine, want something with a little pull to it rather than maybe a full thread screw just to keep everything together. I don't know. All right, so let's see. Should I show you guys how I've been coating my handles for a while? Let's see. Do I have any of my? Hey, Jameson.
Yeah.
Can you go into the utility closet and grab one of those small glass bottles of the Woodsman Axe Oil?
Yeah.
All right.
What did they look like?
They're little small glass bottles. They're in a cardboard box. So, I have a full video on this whole process. It's just the editing, and then my kids broke my laptop, so I'm kind of limited in what I can edit. I'm trying to either do lives or just like full one video, one take, and it's it's not easy. But so I have a full video on how I make my axe oil, how I extract the tannins. But you guys remember maybe 3-4 years ago? Who could forget? But we're just in the middle of the pandemic, and now that it's sanded, go back with your scraper. Ooh, oh, okay. Now that it's sanded, go back with your scraper, do the entire handle, then take quadruple aught steel wool and burnish the whole handle. You will love how it feels. Ooh, I really do love steel wool on a handle. Oh man, I mean, it even feels really good right now. Let's see. All right. And you know what's kind of cool is you can see where the scraper's been. See how it kind of burnishes that spot? Yeah, I mean, I can see right away that it is. Wow, you know what, Chris? You've got the good stuff, man. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, I can really see exactly where it's gone. And I suppose, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I suppose this is how furniture would have been finished for hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, they would have just used a scraper, you know, maybe a smoothing plane, but I suppose probably a smoothing plane could only get it so far. And that's where they talk about like a hand scraped finish, you know, things like that. And I tell you what, have you guys, man, sandpaper has gotten so expensive lately. I started on sandpaper. If you guys have a Harbor Freight near you, I started buying I think it's Bauer version sandpaper, and it is unbelievable. The Bauer sandpaper is better than the Diablo. And I will stand by that. You might think, no way, it can't be true. It is true. The Bauer sandpaper, I prefer it to the Diablo. So, and I did that because, you know, you go to Home Depot, and first off, I tell you what, the Home Depot near me has turned into, it is the most unpleasant experience to go to that Home Depot. The last time I went to, not the one next to me, but I went to one a little bit further out. I was installing a countertop for a guy. Used sandpaper for only quickly removing material. Yeah, I think that's right. Well, Chris, and I recall you hate sanding, right? You know, you hate sanding. You know, I tell you what, I loathe painting. I would, I don't know. I would rather do so many uncomfortable things before I paint. I just absolutely despise painting. I can't do it. My grandpa loved painting. He loved painting. I think he loved painting because he had horrible PTSD. And I kind of laugh about it, but I think for him, it was just a very cathartic, slow experience where he can just zone out and paint. You know, he was in Okinawa, one of the last battles of World War II in the Pacific Theater. And yeah, there you go. You brought the whole box. Anyway, so he loved painting. I hate painting. All right, so I have, so here, I got these Woodsman Axe Oil. All right, so this has oak bark tannins. I've plugged it so many dang times, I feel bad about it on the channel. But I want to give them away. I was going to sell them. I want to get one to Bluegrass Outdoors. I sent him an email. He left a comment about it, but I don't know his email, and so I sent him my email. You know, he's a busy guy, though. He's got a billion stuff to do, so I'm kind of reserving one for him in case he wants it. I'd like to send it. I have 3 left. And I thought to myself, you know, for how much, you ever do something and for how much work it is, you're just like, I don't even want to sell it anymore because it's just not, if I had to sell it, this was a labor of love, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Nope. you know, it really was a labor of love. And I mean, I spent hours and hours and hours. I went out and I got some black oak, some tan oak, and I had my kids and I were out there, and we had hammers and we were stripping the bark off these rounds. And then after that, we pounded them down into just small little bits. And then I had this big metal pot, and we had a wood fire underneath it. I mean, this is like 1800s frontier level family activities. It was actually pretty cool. I loved it. I mean, all the kids are out there, and this is in the middle of the pandemic, and so everybody's locked down and miserable, and we're just in the backyard pounding bark with hammers, and and then we boiled them, extracted all the tannins out of it. Yeah, every time I make something, I battle that. How can I possibly sell this at a fair price and still be compensated for my time? I mean, I hear you. So, yeah, I boiled it, extracted all the tannins, and then after you extract all the tannins, you've got water. You don't want the water. You want just the tannins. And so then I reduced it. I mean, I tell you what, I started with probably 50 gallons of tannin solution. And from that, I ended up with probably a quart of pure, maybe 2 quarts of just the tannins. And then I mixed the tannins with pine tar and linseed oil and all kinds of other stuff. And so let's see, do we kind of have that where I want it to be? All right. Well, you know, I just used my last pad of quadruple aught steel wool, but I've got quadruple aught, well, they call it steel wool, but this is the first time I've used this. This isn't steel. It's whatever 3M uses, kind of like a Scotch-Brite or something like that. But anyways, next time I do this axe oil, I do want to sell it. Woodsman axe oil. You look at that. I've got 2023. That's how long this has been. And at the time, I mean, I did it probably in 2022. Oh, Brian, hey. Yes, this is live number 2. Although it's the first one that I think I'm going to have on the channel. So I'm fixing up this 4-pound Dayton, and I've got some of my axe oil that I'm putting on it. And this stuff is really, really nice for darkening a handle. I mean, you can kind of catch the color there. And it doesn't, I better put the bottle on that. Wait, I'm going to do a little bit more here. Put the lid. All right. I'm going to recap that. So this is the Killinger method of finishing an axe handle. So we've got our steel wool or 3M comparable product. Oh, wow. That is, yeah, so I scraped it with a scraper, and you can see how that super glue really just blends in. I mean, you can run your hand over it. There's maybe a little bit here I could have done a better job with there. And I might get that after this oil dries. But it is so smooth. Really, really nice. Nothing like a vintage handle that's just been sitting out in the elements for just, you know, we've got a hot sun in Atlanta. Look at that. And this handle, because of the overstrike, and I think it was too small to begin with. Somebody had tried to hang this before me, and so it was probably a 1/4 inch thick. I just cut a really thick hickory wedge. And you can kind of see that, whoop, whoop. You know, it's definitely a rehang. But still, the handle is really nicely shaped. So we're going to put a little bit of that on the eye there. And we're going to finish this. So anyways, I was thinking about, I don't want to commoditize. I don't know. Commercialize. That's right. Yeah. I don't want to commercialize my channel too much. But, you know, I'm moving, so I'm selling some axes. You know, look at how it darkened up that the eye there. So I'm selling things, but I'm not trying to, like, you know, make a mint. I'm trying to sell axes for like 40, 50 bucks, unless it's new and I bought it new and I paid too much for it. And then I'm kind of shooting for like 40 or 50% of what I paid for it. So this is probably going to be one like that. I'm a little bit tempted to hang on to it just purely because of the handle. But if I sell it, I think I'd want 50 bucks out of it, which again is kind of like, you could never go into business, not for me anyways, selling an axe at 50 bucks. You know, but I feel like kind of that's just my way of, you know, saying to the channel, hey, you know, let's keep this thing going and spread the, spread appreciation for axes and outdoors. And, you know, nice slope of grain on that handle. Wow, Chris, you were not kidding, man. That is phenomenal. Some quadruple. This is from Chris. He said to scrape it. So I've got a DFM card scraper. And after that, to come back with quadruple aught steel wool. And oh my goodness. That is, that's amazing. Really, really nice there. So, wow. All right, we got a 4-pound Dayton. Does anybody know definitively what these stamps were? It says B3 on the opposite side of the maker's mark. And reinforced, this is a steel reinforced axe. So, we've got that one. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? I've got a bunch of axes to sell here. I'm thinking about selling this. This is a Kelly Works. This is a Champion double bit. It is a full-size axe head on a short handle. So this one's kind of fun. So I got that one. Let's see, what else do we have here? Here is, I'm not selling this one, but I wanted to show this one to everybody out there. This is from Emmanuel over at La Cognée. Now, I've done a few things with and for Emmanuel, but I'm not sponsored or anything. He's just a buddy. You know, we've talked a number of times. And he sells this axe right here, which I think is amazing. Because this right here, if it had lugs on the top and the bottom, would be the closest thing that I can find to an actual, you know, Viking axe on the market today. It comes a little bit goofy, like it has a little kind of steel booger here that you got to get rid of. Otherwise, it doesn't quite look finished. But after you do that, this thing is so cool. I mean, it's light. It's hung on an ash handle. I blackened the handle. And the other thing that I did to it was I made this sheath, this mask. And then I tried to do an inlay or like a carved line around the edge, and it just didn't quite work. And so I'm probably going to sand that back out. But this is a wood sheath. I wanted the sheath to be, I mean, authentic. I don't know. The Vikings and the Celtic people of the time period used wood sheaths. They used wood sheaths, and you know, they'd use bits of leather and string to protect their edge of the axe. So I had some pine, and I recessed out with a carving knife that space. I used a piece of steel rod, peened it over on both sides. And this isn't a Viking, this isn't authentic Viking, but I put some magnets in here so that the sheath stays kind of nice and solid. I mean, you could take this out to the woods, whatever. This would be, you could take this and raid Lindisfarne, and it'd keep your bit secure. The other thing that I did that because, you know, once you've got a, now this is an actual, you know, 800,000-year-old Viking axe, and I got this from my father-in-law. Really cool. It came to me, it looked like a geode. There was so much rust on it. So I took the rest off and then rehung it. And this is a solid iron axe. There's no steel on this axe. It's just purely iron. And it's a really interesting construction. The Viking axes of the time really didn't have heavy poles like they do in the back. It's harder to make an axe with the construction methods that they would have used with a heavy pole. And then it has kind of an oval shape eye, which, it's interesting. Now, it's not particularly historically relevant. I'm maybe a little sensitive about somebody thinking I'm ruining a historic artifact. This had no provenance as to the exact location, which basically makes it completely historically irrelevant. Once it's been taken out of the ground and removed from its context, like, you forget about it for history, for historical value. And there's 1,000 of these out there. I mean, these Viking axes are not as rare as you might think. First off, the Viking era, the Viking territory, is everywhere from Scotland and Ireland all the way to Russia. The Viking era was vast in its territory. In fact, the last Viking, a guy named Harald Hardrada, is amazing. His story is incredible. There's it's on Netflix or Amazon or something. There's a streaming service out there that does a series on Harald Hardrada. He is kind of the last Viking. He was king of Norway. He fought for the Byzantine Empire. He was up in the Kievan Rus in Ukraine. I mean, this guy was everywhere. He made so much money on the Crusades that he literally bought the country of Norway. I mean, this guy was like peak Viking. Well, then he came down, tried to invade England, and this is 1065, 1066. He got a tip from the brother of Harold Godwinson. See, there's two Harolds, probably the most two consequential people in the history of the world that are not religious figures. Two guys, Harold Hardrada and Harold Godwinson. Same first names. Harold Godwinson was the king of England at the time. And anyways, I see I'm losing people, so maybe this isn't interesting. But I got a Viking axe, so I had to, of course, check out a newer version of that Viking axe. Here you go. This was found in Lower Saxony. Lower Saxony shares a land border with Denmark. If that gives you an idea of that Viking era, it was so broad in its scope. So, 1,000-year-old Viking axe, pretty amazing. I don't want to swing it. I really want to swing it, but I don't want to swing it. So I forged a Sayax. I forged a Sayax out of an old leaf spring. So I've got my Sayax and I've got my axe. The way that they would fight with axes, you guys, I don't know if people really talk about this enough because it's kind of brutal, but axes were, if most people had spears, right? The peasantry all had spears because all you need for a spear is an iron tip. And then you'd have an ash or an oak spear shaft for the spear. That was by far the most commonly used weapon. If you were a little bit better off than a spear-wielding peasant, you had an axe. And the way people would fight with axes, probably this is too short for, a battle axe. My guess is they would have a handle about 26 inches or so, because the way you'd fight is you would attack the legs. You'd disable the legs of your enemy and then go for the killing move. There's a battle in, it's in Gotland. That's right. It's a Swedish island. I think it's a Swedish island. And there's a city in Gotland called Visby. And this goes back to some really interesting but complicated, I don't really have a super good grasp of that history, that time period. But there was this conglomeration called the Hanseatic League. And they were basically businessmen that had an empire based on commerce and business. They controlled all the ports. And then you had all these kind of like independent barons and kings all throughout the Viking Empire. And sometimes you'd be a little bit better off and have an army to defend yourself, but other times not. And this island of Visby was attacked by, I forget who attacked them. But anyways, he took all these peasants and he wouldn't let them surrender. And they tried to go to the nearby town, but the town wouldn't let the peasants in because this king wanted to control the island. And so the townspeople said, if we let you in, the king is going to come after us too. And so turned them away at the gates. They said, we want to negotiate on our own. And so this king just crushed these peasants. And the armor was so poor that they didn't even bother to strip the armor or most of the weapons from these peasants. They just buried everybody in their armor with their weapons. It's very, very rare for that to happen in this time period. I mean, usually you could do even something with the iron or what steel there is. I mean, incredible that they basically just forfeit all of the armor. But now we can examine all of their wounds, and something like 60 or 70%, because we kind of have this view that fighting happens like up here, right? Go for the head. That's not at all how it happened. Most of the bodies that were recovered had wounds to the lower body, and they're at an angle that indicates that the person was standing when they were struck, usually with an axe. And you think about how amazing an axe would be for disabling the lower body of an enemy. I mean, they've got their shield up here, right? And they've got their sword. Well, down below, there's just nothing. And so you'd grab your axe. You know, they can't see you do this. You'd trip them up on the feet and the legs. These peasants didn't have armor anyways, and there you're toast. So the axe was just a devastating Viking weapon. All right, so let's see. I heard the Vikings turned into pirates. That's why pirates never fought each other. Don't know if it's true or not. The Vikings fought Vikings. I don't know when this turned into a Viking thing, but there were Vikings all over. Viking isn't, they say Viking is an occupation, not a nationality. And it's really true. What's up, Raw? Hey, Emmanuel. You know, the Vikings, the first Vikings were so just aggressive and violent and bloodthirsty, they were kicked out of their villages. Those were the first Vikings. You know, we kind of think that you had these Norwegians, these Scandinavians, that just one day decided to go across the English Channel and attack Lindisfarne in the 700s. But really, the Viking, the Germanic culture was just so tribal. And if you were like a young guy and you were ambitious, just imagine there's an older king with all of this tribal infrastructure supporting him, and he knows that you're a rival, right? Because the Germanic people didn't pass down their authority over the people group based on lineage. They didn't do it that way. I mean, if you were kind of an aggressive guy that thought you had a future, horses were hoed, hamstring. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what, Brian? That's a really good point. If you had an axe, that would be one of the best weapons against cavalry. That would be incredible. You know, the reason that the English lost the Battle of Hastings is because of a French cavalry charge. You know, the way everybody lost battles in that time period is they would think the army they're fighting is retreating. And a lot of the time it was just a pure head fake. So they would break rank, they'd come off their defensive position, they would rush down to finally crush and finally defeat their enemy, and it was a trap, you know, and that's what the cavalry defeated the English in the Battle of Hastings that same way, you know. I think there was a cry that came out that said, William the Conqueror is dead, and the English thought, yes, we're going to go win. Broke rank, they were up on a hill, chased the French, and then the cavalry from the French closed in. I mean, can you imagine being an English foot soldier when you've got all this heavily armed cavalry coming to bear down on you? But I tell you what, if that was going to happen to me, I think I would want an axe, because it's just, I think it's a better weapon than a sword. I mean, I really do. This is far less likely, I think, to break than a sword. I mean, I'd probably, if I was a warrior during the time period, I think I'd want, give me an axe, man, or a say axe. Now, I don't know if anybody out there's kind of into these say axes. This would be, you'd call this a broke back say axe. And look at how thick it is. None of these had bolsters or guards. It was just, you know, and I think the reason that these were made this way is because it's, the say axes were basically only used from the time the Romans left until kind of well into the Viking period.
Can you give me a hammer?
A hammer? Yeah, I got a whole pile of hammers over there. Go grab one. Watch your toes. I got lots of sharp stuff. Yeah, so, and I think these were just easy to make. Kukri, yes. I had a kukri, but I gifted it to a guy not too long ago. It was one of those kukris from, remind me, from the Gurkhas in, somebody's going to fill in the blank. I can't remember. Looks like an Uruk-hai blade. Yeah. Very cool axe. Thank you. And yes, I agree the axe was better than a sword in the right hands. Yeah. And less expensive, too. I mean, if you think about it, at the time period, iron, you could get iron probably from a number of different places, but getting steel was still very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. You know, I went up to the North Georgia mountains not too long ago, and I found there's one county in Georgia that made a ton of iron, and I think a little bit of steel, but mostly iron. It's hard. I mean, very, very hard to make steel with, and they would have done this in the late 1800s. I mean, they had, at the time, they had all kinds of resources that the, you know, people 1,000 years ago didn't have, but getting good quality metal, I think, was just really, really difficult. And so you could save yourself a lot of problems with something that's really designed to smash and crash versus a sword, which, I mean, my goodness, it's got to be strong, it's got to be flexible, it can't break, but at the same time, it can't be too soft. I mean, my goodness, making a sword would be just incredibly difficult.
An axe is not, like, flexible.
An axe is not flexible. You're right. An axe is not flexible at all, Clark.
If you touch
So,
it, it's flexible.
So anyways, yeah, so I've got a bunch of different axes here. So I think I am gonna offload this champion, this Kelly champion, at some point. I'm going to sell this guy, which I tell you what is, man, I really like that handle. It's got a nice pocket on it. Really, this is kind of how I test my axes these days. If you can slam your hand down and it doesn't come off, you just, I mean, like, that's a good, oof. Man, I like that. So I like this axe. I think I'm going to sell that one. Raw axes, yep, more universal. And, you know, when you're hanging around camp, I mean, you can process wood with it. You can do all kinds of things with an axe. An axe is good for more than just battle. You know, if you need to start a fire, a sword is only going to get you so far. So let's see. All right. Oh, here, I got something to show you. So here's an elm handle that I carved. Woohoo! We're throwing stuff all over the place. This is an elm handle. I carved this maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. I think I'm going to sell this one too. I have too many axes. This is actually kind of special, and this is kind of why I started the channel. I want to... Hey, thanks, Emmanuel. I wanted to take things from the tree to the finished product. And so this red elm tree, this is, you know, people might call it slippery elm, rock elm. This tree grew in my backyard, and I needed to take the tree down. And so I took it down, split the log into handle blanks, and then made a handle out of it. And it's on actually a really nice kind of boy's axe size head. I think this is 2 1/4, which it's a 1/4 pound heavier than a lot of boys axes these days. So I got a nice handle, nice wedge there. Now the only thing is the elm tree wasn't very big, and so I got some kind of carving marks here. The handle isn't perfect, but I mean, as far as an elm handle goes, It's really nice. It has a great color. Elm has a super tight grain. So I was thinking about, I think I'm just going to sell every axe for like 50 bucks. Whoa. Well, you know, some of those are yours, bud. So I think I'm also going to sell that one. So this is 3 axes.
This is a tiny one.
Oh, this is my newest axe. So I had a guy, Downing Arts, make me a wonderful coachmaker's axe, and I would like to ask him if he would make me. This is called the Fort Meigs axe. You look at that there. Now these are made in India, and the steel is like, you know, oh yeah, elm is overlooked sometimes. Absolutely. Well, elm for me is hard to get. I love elm, but I just don't see many elm trees lying around. Son to dad, don't sell my inheritance. I know, right? Well, you know, I'm getting off track, but when I see a nice axe lying around these days, like a really nice axe, like when there was an auction that had 3 Forest Service boys axes. I bought all 3 of them because I got 3 boys. And when they turn, you know, however old they're capable of swinging an axe, I want them to have those axes. So I bought 3 of them. I bought 3 council tool jerseys for my boys. And then I'm getting each of them a hatchet. So probably 10 of those axes back there are either my boys that I've already gifted to them, or they will one day be my boys. Hey, Leon. All right, what axes are you interested in, Leon? So I'm interested in having a blacksmith make me a good version of this axe right here. This is Fort Meigs was a fort during the War of 1812, and I'm trying to remember which president. Was it Benjamin Harrison or somebody was defending Fort Meigs, Meigs, against the English and the natives that were allied with the English. And this axe was allegedly found at the fort, at the battle site. Oh, watch your fingers on that. That'll bite you. So I want to have a blacksmith make me a good version of this because I love them. This would be like a long hunter's axe. You know, if you're a long hunter in the 1700s, you'd go out and you'd hunt for a year or 2 years at a time, and you'd get pelts and you'd get all kinds of different stuff. So I want somebody to make me a good version of that. But let's see, where else are we? I want to look at my axe collection quick and see if there's anything else. I'm kind of tempted to sell this one. Got some dust on it. It's been a while since I used it. But this is I think my most popular video where I rehung this council tool Dayton. That's kind of what launched my channel. So I'm kind of thinking about selling this one. I might not. It might be a sentimental thing, but you know, we'll see. What do you think, Clark?
Good.
All right. Yeah, there we go. This one is going to find a new home. This is a council tool, French curve 30 or 32C from Whiskey River. And this is the new council tool. That's the updated jersey pattern. What else here? Anyways, I think that might be it for axes that I'm looking to rehome. But, watch your toes. So anyways, I don't know, what's everybody up to? I had a guy who wanted to buy that council tool Dayton up there. And he offered to buy it, and he was like, well, I'd probably give you 50 or 60 bucks or something like that. And I was like, like, I don't know. For that, I'll hang on to it. That's what I paid for it. Yeah, so anyways, what are you guys all up to? You know, I'm hanging out here in the shop. We're in the process of moving. So, I mean, I tell you what, I'm just like, it's just everything is mentally taxing because, you know, when you're just doing your thing, you can put something in a corner. Oh, I'll deal with that later. But it's like now, no, you've got a definitive end date. You've got to deal with that stuff. I made a big mallet. This is out of white oak. This has been kind of fun to use. I've got a bunch of white oak just lying around that I think I might turn into mallet-sized billets. You know, if I can't sell a lot of my lumber, I'm thinking about ways to break it down into either movable or sellable sizes. Here, let me show you something. You know, the most durable wood mallet that I've ever had is made out of elm. This is actually from the same tree as this axe handle came from. The same red elm handle. And I've struck metal with this a whole bunch of times. Rock elm is impressive. It is so impressive. So I tell you what, I really like elm. If I can find a good supply of elm, then I will absolutely try and make a bunch of handles out of it. Because I really enjoy making handles. I mean, long term, my plan includes getting a duplicator lathe so I can, one thing you could use is the mallet. Yes, I need to, yep, oh yeah. Mallets are amazing, and I use this for all kinds of different stuff. And this is a burl. This is an elm burl, by the way, and it was not easy to carve. Oh my goodness. It was just absolutely incredible. You can see there, it's got 2 piths. And then another one here. I mean, this is just hard. I can see why they call it rock elm. This is just incredible stuff. Yeah. So anyways, I'm right about 51 minutes. So I think I'll probably cut it short about an hour. But the last live that I did, I uploaded it and it was like gone. So this one hopefully sticks around. But yeah, so I've got emails to go through. For the last 5 axes that I posted, I need to just go down the list and kind of try to be, you know, fair about who reached out to me first about the axe. Because I got more emails than I think I thought I would, and so I want to do this without making a whole bunch of people mad. Red oak in northern Michigan has many holes throughout it. Some kind of worm killing them. Oh man, come to Nebraska. Elm everywhere. Hey, Rob, where are you in Nebraska? La Cogne, yeah, there's a manual. Go check out a manual. That's where I got this. Is this the Barbuta? I think that's the style. I can't remember what. This is a great axe. I just love it. It is really handy. And Rinaldi, the steel that they use, it's a spring steel. Oh, you're in Omaha. My little brother lives in Omaha. And I have a cousin and his family in Omaha, and I've spent a lot of time in Lincoln. So I know that Omaha, Lincoln area pretty well. You should make some 28-inch handles for the Council Tool Pack Axe. Yes! Yeah, that'd be awesome. 28-inch handles. I mean, I want to, when we go to Wisconsin, part of my long-term pie-in-the-sky plan is to get a sawmill, get a kiln. I want to get a surfacer, like a big surfacer for tables and slabs and things. I want to get ultimately a duplicator for handles and things. So we've got a lot coming down the pipeline for the channel and doing all kinds of stuff. Can you step back one step? Are you trying to read the comments?
Yes.
The mask is cool. Oh, thanks, man. I don't know if I've showed a real close up, but I basically just carved out a recess for the axe, and I put some magnets in there. You know, I understand the Vikings did have magnets. Probably not this kind of magnet though. Hi, Clark. Yeah, that's Clark. Yeah. I had Jameson in here earlier. Hey, watch your toes around that. I got some axes pointing that way. Yeah, copy lathe. Yep. And they're not as expensive as you might think. There's a couple of companies that make rifle stocks that use duplicator lathes, and you can get one from them, and you can make axe handles pretty easily. They work off of a router. So we got that. Yeah, guys. So I think I'm gonna wind it up here. We got this, man. Kind of the whole purpose here was to get this True Temper situated. I think I'm looking to sell this one I don't know. I think everything is going to be $50, you know. So I don't know if people seem to think that's fair, and I think it's kind of fair. But if somebody would like anything here and they'd like something different, let me know. So all right, guys, I am gonna cut this one short then, or not short, because this is pretty long. I appreciate everybody hanging out. So this has been great. I'm gonna try to do more lives, at least until my laptop is fixed. I can't edit videos right now, so I got a whole bunch of stuff on my phone that's just sitting there. But all right, guys, well, I tell you what, have a great Easter weekend. Peace and happy Easter to y'all. Yep, he is risen, or at least he will be in a few days. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for hanging out.